What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am your host, Raymond, and you're listening to New Wave Real Talk. Thank y'all for sharing your Friday with me. It's a Friday evening on the East Coast. Hope y'all are having a good Friday. So I got somebody special in the studio. Got my daughter in the studio. She's rocking it out with me, y'all. So Malia, introduce yourself. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Tell the people about yourself a little bit.
My name is Malia. I'm 9 years old, and I'm going to the fourth grade.
All right. Are you excited about going to fourth grade?
Yes.
It's not gonna be. Do you think it's gonna be a big difference from third grade?
Yes.
Okay, we'll
It's
see.
going to be much harder.
Much harder. It should be for sure. It should definitely be much harder. Tell the people a little bit about your hobbies. What do you enjoy doing?
I love TikTok.
I love TikTok. Wow. Yeah, I can't get into TikTok. What do you do with TikTok? You make the videos.
You make the videos, you use the sound, and then you make the video, and then you post it.
And then you have friends and followers of your TikTok, and you can show your dance moves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, all right, all right. I'm into it. I'm into it. Well, yeah, you've tried to get me on the TikTok of two, but
yeah, it only worked out for one.
it only worked out for one.
Uh-huh.
All right. So Malia, I got Malia in the studio with me today, ladies and gentlemen, for her to give you her perspective. Her perspective as a 9-year-old as it relates to the coronavirus. So we're gonna get into this thing. We're gonna use Malia's perspective to reevaluate how we look at the coronavirus as it relates to kids. So Malia, tell me a little bit about how your summer is different this year compared to last year.
It's different because I have to stay home, be bored, and do schoolwork.
Be bored and you got to stay home, be bored and do schoolwork. What are some of the activities that you missed out on this summer that you didn't get to do so far? Because you're only in the beginning of summer. So, like last summer, tell me some of the things that you did.
So I went to dance camp. I saw my friends. I saw my family members. And we had lots of parties.
Lots of parties. No parties with Corona, huh?
Nope.
Right. So how are you feeling? So okay, let me ask you this question. So you know that the school systems are now talking about reopening. And in your school district, there are three options that they are posing. So I'm gonna give you those three options and I'm gonna get your opinion on it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first option is face-to-face, in-person teaching, just like the old-fashioned way, 5 days a week you go to school. The second option is you do that old-fashioned way 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week you're learning virtually from your house. So second option is 2 days in school, 3 days at home. And then the third option is virtual learning for the first semester totally. So tell me your opinion about the three and tell me which one you would choose. Or you can just tell me which one you would choose.
Okay, so I would do
If you were the
virtual.
Okay, so if you were the superintendent of the school, you would do virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Now give me some insight as to why you would do virtual.
I would do virtual because if there's a student in the class and they have they haven't stayed 6 feet.
Mm-hmm. So like they've been around other people,
Yeah,
at their house or hanging out.
yes, and a person is around them and they're very close to them, and they touch all over them, and then they go to the restroom and go use the restroom.
And don't wash your hands and then come back into class and touch over all of the things. Because in school you guys share a lot of different things, right? All right. So your fear of the in-class instruction is the fact that because you guys share so much that there's like no way to really control it, right? Yeah. I absolutely agree. I think that we have to, educators and superintendents have to try and understand from their perspective kids who actually go to school every day and who are actually interacting, right, with other students, right? Because the coronavirus, it does not just affect one type of people. It affects everybody. Right, right. What do you want to see, like with the coronavirus? What do you want to see happen as it relates to the existence?
I want to see it go away.
Right. You want to see it go away. Yeah. Absolutely. We all do. We all do. We really do. So Yeah, I think you have given a good perspective. So with virtual learning, do you feel like, and this is a random question, this wasn't in our prep for the show, but do you feel that virtual learning can be successful? Do you feel like it can be successful? Are you really learning virtually?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that if you're learning virtually, if you're learning virtually and you're doing it right, then I think that we should definitely, evaluate that, right? As an option. Are you afraid of going to school in person?
Yes, I am so afraid. I do not want to get the coronavirus.
I don't want you to get the coronavirus either, baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from a 9-year-old's perspective on why she feels that the coronavirus is not under control and that we need to keep our kids at home.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you heard it from a 9-year-old, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with more content from the channel. Don't y'all go anywhere.
Hey, you're watching New Wave Real Talk. We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're back with the show. We got Eric in the studio.
Hey.
What's going on, Eric? How you feeling?
I'm good as always.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are going to be seeing a lot of Eric over these next couple of weeks. He's going to be rocking it out with me here with New Wave, giving his perspective. So he will be considered the co-host. He is co-hosting this show today officially.
It is an honor.
It is. Yeah, there you go. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Always welcome. Always welcome. So you heard me talking to Malia about the coronavirus and how it's impacting the kids and the fear that a lot of these kids have.
Yeah.
The fear is real, man.
It is. But so let me just be clear. So we're at the point now we can start using bad words, right?
Yeah. Malia is clear of the studio. Right, she is clear of the studio.
Because I know when she was saying doing the virtual, I'm like, as a parent who has other things going on, fuck virtual learning. Fuck virtual. It's like in theory, it's great. I do like the fact that I can focus on my kid exclusively on him and just make sure that he understands what's going on.
Right.
And I was able to get him, far beyond what his school was, or at least what his class was putting out for like the sight words.
Right.
He's in kindergarten.
Right.
But, like sight words, getting him up to speed with math, where he's like able to do it faster and building more confidence with it.
Right.
Because like just doing the what's the stuff on what is it? Class Dojo?
Yeah, Class Dojo already. Yeah, but I think looking at it from a perspective of either like one or the other, if it's going to be virtual or in person, I would vote virtual every day because those kids are truly going to be infected like crazy when it comes to that,
Yeah. I'm saying it's really more so like I'm tired of it. So I'm like, bro, it was so much work, man. And
like they just need to cancel school for like the first semester. Like just I hate to say it.
Like, or at least just give out like just enough. I'm like, bro, there's no way that my son was getting this much work in class.
Right. They was overloaded
because it was like you had like they had already, like you were saying,
right.
Then and the already was actually what went to the dojo points. That's what it was.
Right. So how much they do, or
right,
whatever,
and
how
then
much they turn in.
yeah, and then they had this other one called Seesaw that they were using. I'm like, bro, like we just knocked out like 30 assignments. Y'all adding 20 more on here, like,
right.
But it's all due in the end. And yeah,
it is all due. It is all due on Friday.
And we doing all this work, and it's like we might have seen like 3 actual assignments get graded. Like was like some kind of feedback. So I'm like, bro, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Right. No, you're 100% right. Well, the coronavirus itself is on an all-time rise right now.
Yeah.
So everybody is my biggest question about it was, are we in a second wave? Like, are we in a second wave, or we finished with the first wave? And most people are saying that the doctors and the experts are saying that, like, we ain't even done with the first wave yet.
Yeah, I mean, when we speak on like a wave, I mean,
whatever that means, right?
Yeah, like whatever that means. I'd imagine that the first wave would have at least been almost completely wiped out. You know what I mean? Where it was almost like we just going back to life as normal.
Right.
But that never really happened. You know what I'm saying? So to say, I mean, I think we were, even though you can't just stop the economy forever. You know what I'm saying? Even though there's a significantly small portion, like percentage of people actually getting infected, let alone people that actually dying from it.
Right.
Like we can't open everything prematurely. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to do what we can do. I think that we were doing well with, maintaining some kind of curfew. Restaurants just having where they're relying on like delivery services. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The virtual learning is good. It was more so a headache for me because I was also trying to do stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
you still had to.
Like I had my own agenda while I'm also like doing a million things with this kid.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so in comparison to the 1918 Spanish flu, right? So because everybody is comparing today to that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a legitimate comparison, I guess. I mean, I wasn't born in 1918, so I can't really, we can't really attest.
Yeah.
But one of the things that they did in 1918 one of the things they did that we did not do was, one of the things that we did that they did not do was shut down the country. Mm. So in 1918, they didn't necessarily shut down all of the activities and all of the businesses. And the death toll was significantly higher. Right. And so what's crazy to me is that people are advocating right now to remove precautions.
Yeah, and that's the dumbest thing. Like, I mean, people have to get some kind of understanding of like basics, like I was about to say psychology, but biology. You know what I mean? Not saying that they have to be an expert or major in that, but like some base level understanding of biology and virology to some extent. Right. Because I mean, I think like just the field of like microbiology isn't very old. You know what I mean? Biology as a whole is a very like young discipline when it comes to like just all the different sciences or whatever, let alone actually understanding, you know what I'm saying, like viruses and how they, or bacteria, just microbes, microorganisms in general, and how they interact with us. Because it's like we need to be exposed to things like that weakens us by staying in the house. However, like being reckless in a time where like something that you cannot see, it's not like, like when they're talking about the other like MERS and whatever, and I think it was SARS, whichever one it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
SARS 2.
If you, it's like certain diseases, you know what I'm saying? Like when you have where when you got it, and it's not something that passes so easily via, the air. Right. I mean, you can get a good handle on it. These people didn't even understand, you know what I'm saying, what they were dealing with, I'm sure. And we saw what happened to them. Right. Like we have to be smarter than that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We do. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. We definitely got to learn something from it, right? And take those experiences. And I think we did to a certain degree because we didn't reduplicate as far as not closing. But yeah, people are, talking about removing the precaution. I don't know if the listeners, if you heard, but I'm sure you have heard on Facebook and all around the social media platforms, people in Florida in Palm Beach County literally showed up at the city council meeting for Palm Beach County and protested masks being used.
Like nobody's saying you have to wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? And granted, I'm not.
Well, hold on. Law, so down here, so what these people were advocating and what they were fighting for was so in Palm Beach County, they are now they actually passed an ordinance to require public places to have masks. Usage, like you have to have a mask on when you're going into a public establishment in Palm Beach County. That's what the city council is advocating.
This is such a fucking first world problem.
Yeah.
Like, like, bro, I'm sorry, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care if it's just old people and people with like compromised immune systems that are dying from it. It's like at the end of the day, if I'm 80 years old, I might want to live to see 90. You know what I'm saying? I might have other things I'm working on.
Right.
So,
I want to make it.
Right. I mean, so it's just about being thoughtful. Like, I don't wear a mask all the time, but at the same time, I keep one with me because it's like, okay, yeah, if somebody says, yeah, you need to wear a mask, like, okay, what is it gonna hurt me to put on a damn mask for a couple minutes? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, is it that big of a deal? Like, just like that haircut nonsense. Like, bro, is it that serious right now?
Right. To like, where you want to, you know, and not necessarily risking your life, but you know, the coronavirus, the way it is explained, and I think the scientists and the doctors are doing a pretty good way of explaining why you need to wear the mask, and the fact that it's not necessarily a solution to kill the virus, but it's a solution to not infect people at a higher rate, or at least try to not infect people.
And I haven't been devoting my life to studying coronavirus specifically, but my major in college that I had to go back to because, you know, some things happen with the finance department. But anyway,
Hey, don't give up.
Right. Well, yeah. All right. But it happened. But anyway, like, people have to understand that, okay, viruses, you know what I'm saying, until they get inside of you, it's no problem. But once it's inside of you, like, it infiltrates your cells, it infiltrates the functionality of your actual cell. You know what I mean? So it's a different type of beast than, you know, let's say trying to battle bacteria that's in or out of your cell. And this is just speaking very broadly on it, because you definitely have different types of bacteria too, that create their own sets of problems because they might be similar, but to where our cells are composed or whatever. But it's like, we had to be thinking about those people, because it's like, you can't just, it's not just an easy fix. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, yeah, you can do things like, you know, let's say on the holistic side, okay, yeah, you can make sure that you're taking things like elderberry or whatever else to help prevent viruses from being able to like attach to your cells. On the allopathic side, like, you know, when you talk about the hospitals having the treatments or whatever, like all that stuff, and then, you know, giving people vaccinations who want the vaccinations, all that stuff is cool, but like being reckless is not. You know what I'm saying? Like, all it takes is just, bro, like put on like literally just mask. Put on a mask, wash your hands. You know what I'm saying? Like, little simple stuff, like basic hygiene, bro. Like, I don't know why people making it such a big deal when there's no reason why people should be as enraged about wearing a mask as they are about like police brutalities, you know?
right. Yeah. And that's real talk. So I'm getting ready to queue up a video, but basically in this video, the protesters are literally calling the council officials like devils and communists, and the fact that the people are trying to like take over their life by asking them to simply wear a mask in public. We ain't saying wear it in your car, in your personal house.
You realize, like, in places like Japan, like that's just a courtesy.
Exactly. Right? Telling you is a courtesy.
It's just a courtesy. Like, hey, like, I might be a little sick. I don't want to get nobody else sick.
Right.
Whether I can fight it off or not, like, I don't want to catch coronavirus. I don't want to catch the flu.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I appreciate you doing that.
And in those countries, it's not a question either.
Yeah,
it ain't no question of, can you wear a mask? Can you please wear? Now, either you wear the mask or else. You know what I mean?
Bro,
we know what happens over there.
I mean, if you just had that little bit, you know what I'm saying? Just saying, wear a mask. Y'all could be out as late as you want to be out, because it's not like the coronavirus stops at a certain time.
Right.
But like, be out whenever you want to be out. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do. Just, you know, practice good hygiene and wear a mask when you're gonna be in close quarters with people. Like, that's it, bro. That's all you got to do.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. Let's let me see if I can get this here for the people to hear while we listen to it together. But it blew me away. All right, here we go. Oh, gotta turn the phone up. Let's restart it, guys.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
They want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it.
In the beginning, God formed man out of the earth and breathed his breath in him, and he became a living soul. Where do you derive the authority to regulate human breathing? What you say is the political dogma that they're trying to shove down our throats on every commercial in every store, and it's disgusting.
Every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity.
Let me ask you all, do you believe you're God? Do you believe you can override God's divine plan for our lives? You're removing our freedoms and stomping on our constitutional rights by these communist dictatorship orders or laws you want to mandate.
We will get together and do a citizen's arrest on every single human being that goes against the freedom of choice, okay? You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet, okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We got to get scanned. We got to get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now.
Much of our communication is nonverbal, which includes facial expressions, gestures displayed, and the physical distance between the communicators. How will young children be able to know who the dangerous deviants are, like pedophiles and people in the human sex trafficking?
You did not listen to we the people. I would die for that country. I would die for the Constitution. And you know what? You disgrace me. You know why? You did not listen to we the people. You made your decision.
I haven't worn a mask yet. I'm not wearing it today. Besides, despite what you guys do up here today, I'm not wearing one tomorrow. I was born free. I will stay free. My rights come from God, not from you. I'm not wearing it. You're going to have to hold me down and put it on me.
We are a nation of shared values of freedom, liberty, equality. We are home of the free, land of the brave. This is America, as someone else spoke. This is not Cuba. We are not in a communist nation.
And I say Trump 2020, and I hope every one of you gets voted out who votes for a mask here today. Shame on you for voting for a mask.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time has expired.
I also heard you say this is a democracy, and I'm sick and tired of hearing you say that. It's a republic.
It's a republic.
Bro, what did I just listen to? Like,
oh boy, that was crazy, man. I wanted to play that and to set the conversation up.
Oh Lord,
boy. I mean, where do you start? So these are people literally advocating and arguing for not wearing a mask, like just not putting on a mask. They said the mask is killing us. It's killing people.
Okay, that's like everything about what these people said was wrong, and I wish that they would apply. Like when they say like it's dogmatic politics or whatever else, it's like, bro, like
the dogma.
People have like, bro, like you're like a certain degree of their theological belief is, I mean, well, not even a certain degree, like a lot of it is dogmatic. Like they don't the same thing they're trying to use as defense. It's like, bro, and then second of all, I'm like, bro, like the grand architect of this universe is heavily involved in science. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is. Like you can be scientific and spiritual as well, but it's like, bro, you cannot sit up here and argue like just flat out objective ass truth, like objective ass facts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Ain't nobody infringing on no personal like you can still breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like you can still breathe.
She said it's killing us. People literally cannot breathe. And what's crazy to me is that these people are so passionate about the fact that they should not have to wear masks. The very thing that had that literally stopped or slowed. I'm not gonna say stop, but slowed the spread. People, we really should have been wearing masks the first instance that this thing started to spread.
We should have. I mean, another thing I think should have happened, like as soon as we knew this was happening, we should have stopped flights
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially international, because that's an easy way for it to spread.
Exactly.
Cruises, like all that kind of stuff. Nothing that wasn't like essential.
Right.
Something that was like imperative for societal functions.
Right.
Like we should have stopped all that, but we didn't. And you know what I'm saying? Like there was what was it, from the US medical intelligence? They were sending out letters to the White House to like officials that were right in Trump's corner, like, you know, high officials within his camp, within his administration.
His cabinet administration, whatever word you want to use.
Like if you like, they were saying, hey, we have this virus that's been found in Wuhan, or we have, you know what I'm saying, like it could be something big, you know what I mean, like might want to take certain precautions. And all you have is like where people where the responses are, okay, we know we send this to this person who literally eats breakfast with Trump every day, or who's literally eating every day with Trump, or whatever, but we don't know if Trump read it. Right. And it's like, bro, I mean, every death that's come from coronavirus is a direct result of poor execution.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
On the response side of things. Like,
yeah. I mean, he definitely has to take some accountability. All of it can, you know, here's what I say. Being a realist, Donald Trump did not create the coronavirus. I don't think he's clever enough to create the coronavirus, right?
No, I mean, he might greenlight it or something.
Right. So he didn't architect this virus that we know. So I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's his fault that it happened, but when you are the president of the United States, you have to take control of your country, and you have to orchestrate things that can help keep your citizens safe.
Yeah.
I mean, he did one thing that he always tout that he really can say he did. He closed the borders to China, because I guess he thought that the virus was only going to stay in China, but a virus goes everywhere like, that the host go.
The virus don't need your permission.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And he loves to call it the Chinese virus, which I believe. Now, I mean, here's what you say what you want to say. I believe that the virus came from Wuhan, and I do believe that it should be called the Chinese virus. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, see, the thing is, like, the issue that I would have with it, well, I mean, I would say this: if I'm in like personal conversation, okay, cool, we can joke about it like that. However, you know, you can't be that reckless in certain public platforms because of the type of response it'll incite. You know what I'm saying? Because then you associate a person with something that really had nothing to do with. It's like because I mean, think about it, it's like every death that comes from the coronavirus, every bad publicity that comes from coronavirus is going to somehow still be associated with Chinese or China when you put that label on it. At least on a subconscious level, I think. So I think we have to be mindful of like calling it the Kung flu and the Chinese virus, all that kind of crap. Because it's like, I mean, unless they were doing some grand conspiracy, conducting some kind of grand conspiracy to try to like shut the United States economy down or something.
Right.
Like we have I mean, we still rely heavily on them. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they bought a lot of bonds and stuff in America, and then they we still get a lot of products from them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're right. I do agree with you on this point that the words that you say can be used against you, right? As a country. I do agree with that. But I believe, and I think we'll agree to disagree on that one, is I believe that thing came from Wuhan.
No, I don't disagree with you on that. I'm saying what I'm saying is like it just needs to not be labeled as the Chinese disease, because then people will like blame China, Chinese people.
That was that's definitely what the media tried to do for sure when it came to once Trump said, you know, the Chinese virus.
And because I mean, my thing is like you got a lot of, I mean, it's kind of like anything else is happening, right? Like 9/11 take place. Okay, boom. Now you got where, you know, Muslims are being treated a certain way because of what a few Muslims did, or supposedly did, allegedly did. You know what I'm saying? Or like if there was, I mean, think about how few black people actually out here doing, you know, committing violent crimes compared to how many of us actually deal with the ramifications of that, of just being labeled as thugs or whatever else, and so on for like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that it would be good to just. We can say that it originated in China, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's true,
right?
It's just calling it the Chinese disease and all that kind of stuff. It's like, bro, like
you ain't there.
Businesses that people ain't even eating that Chinese restaurants. And stuff.
Here's okay. I'm glad you said that, because here's what I say, man. Literally, for real, like on real talk, 100%. I really side-eyed eating at Chinese places after this. I'm dead serious. Like, I'm dead serious.
I ain't mad at nobody for being that way, because I mean we need to be supporting our own anyway. You know what I'm saying? I stay on that code first. However, sometimes it is cheaper and available when you know, you just want to get something to eat. And
I mean, but did you not feel that like when
I mean,
so you didn't have no trepidations about eating Chinese after you heard where it came from?
None. To be honest with you, like, this is my thing. Like, I'm a very like independent thinker, and it's like, and I'm not saying that like is in the sense of you got some people who just are like contrarians,
right?
So they think that makes them independent thinkers. It's like I don't care what everybody else thinks. Like that's just my thing. I don't care what either side says. I cannot have an opinion on something. I can have an opinion on something, but it's like what the world is doing doesn't affect me essentially. As long as you don't come fucking with what I got going on, then I don't care. But the first thing that came to mind was like, okay, yeah, that's a Chinese. It originated in China.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, shit. When you think about the time it takes for you to get a fucking Amazon package, or if you don't have Prime, or you think about like if you order something from China, like okay, well, it takes time for it to get here. You know what I'm saying? And if we slowing down things, then it's probably a good chance that whatever the Chinese people are using was already here. The Chinese people that are here conducting business were already here.
Right.
But support black on black business. We need to be black on black economics. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It is important. It is important. You brought up another point. So that thing, I bought a thing for the camera recently. Well, I bought it a while ago, and it literally just came from China 2 days ago. I literally, I want to tell the people,
bro, if you want to write it down, that's good,
bro. I literally took it out the package and like sanitize.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But it came from China. Like I feel some kind of way because
there's nothing wrong with that. Like they have. I mean,
I feel so ignorant saying
like
that.
No, I mean, but the thing is, like, when you have places like China or like, these metropolitans throughout the country or whatever, like just through like our country, like New York or whatever else, but especially places like China, like it's a breeding ground for disease. You talking about like them wet markets and stuff, like that kind of stuff can happen. You know what I'm saying? And like living in such close quarters like that. I mean, it's like one person gets sick, 30 people getting sick within the first 20 minutes.
I mean, and you're talking about the population there is it's
ridiculous. It's like places like that, India, or you look at like New York's of the world, you know what I'm saying? Like places like that. I mean, it's just gonna happen.
Did you know India had 1 billion people?
Yeah, it's been there for a while now. It's been.
Bro, I'm like, maybe that's a black ignorant moment, but I didn't realize that India like a
Did you say
billion
black ignorant moment?
Well,
just
I mean, I'm black and I had an ignorant moment.
Bro, it's just ignorance, bro. It's just ignorance. There's no black. It's no black ignorance. It's just ignorance, bro.
Oh man, we're gonna catch a quick break. We'll be right back. Y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, you're watching New Wave Real Talk. We'll be back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We back. We are back. Welcome back. You're listening to New Wave Real Talk. I'm Raymond. I'm your host, and I got my co-host Eric in the studio.
Hey.
And we do this every Friday. So if this is your first time tuning in, we'll see you next Friday too. But we got more show to go. We were just talking about the coronavirus, and there was this video circulating on Facebook, all social media platforms. I can't seem to find the video no more. But it was this guy talking about the coronavirus and how society is creating such a phenomenon out of the coronavirus and how with it having such low death rates that it has. And all of this, and now you got the people we just talked about in Florida that's advocating wearing masks. Do you think
advocating against wearing masks?
Well, yeah, advocating against wearing masks. Do you think that like this coronavirus truly is like being blown out of proportion, or do you think that all of the precaution that we're taking we should continue to do? I think you're probably there that we should continue to do it.
I think that it's just mindfulness. Right. I'm sorry. That's it. Like I said earlier, I don't wear a mask everywhere I go. I actually don't wear a mask at all. However, I do keep a mask with me, you know what I'm saying, just in case. And I am cautious of where I'm going and how long I'm out somewhere, whatever.
And you will wear a mask if it's required.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it doesn't infringe on my rights to wear a fucking mask, bro. Like
what the people in Florida say.
That's like
the people in Florida say you violate my constitutional right. I ain't gotta wear no mask.
They doing too much, man. And all these people that keep trying to tie God and something, like I hate it when people, do spirituality of whatever sort an injustice by trying to use it to justify their own beliefs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, bro, just let that be that. You can't have where your political beliefs or your personal beliefs infringe upon what's just flat out happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like politics cannot sit up here and try to argue with science. Economics cannot argue with science, bro. Like that's just what it is.
Right.
Bro.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Because and my thing is, even though the death rate is low, it's one of those things where like, okay, but people feel differently about the shit when it actually affects somebody they know.
Right.
Because it's like, had it been their grandmama or their brother, their auntie, their daughter, their cousin, whatever that caught it and actually died from it,
right?
Then they have a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? And
100%.
you can't take that word from people like that who have been completely unaffected. Like that's just what it is. People who are completely unaffected and they only hear about it, it hits them differently. But when you know people who are at the hospitals, you know what I'm saying, dealing with this stuff every day, seeing the shortage of ventilation systems or whatever, ventilators or whatever else, it's like they think differently about this than a lot of us do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, bro, but just conduct life as normal as possible, and just know that like if we can, it's better to save everybody than to be like, fuck it, a few people died. Like that's just not like
right. It's not realistic.
It's just it's just making a minor adjustment, bro. Like that's it. Like that's all you're doing is making a minor adjustment for a short term. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I'm gonna not shout out. Maybe we shouldn't say shout out. Shout out is not the right word to use when we talk about the coronavirus. But there are some states that are trending right now on the upslope. And I'm gonna give it to you the top 5: Alabama, Arizona, California, Florida, and Georgia. Those are the top 5 states as it relates to hotspots as far as the trends on the 14-day average are increasing. California has a 7-day rolling average death rate average of 64.6 people in the state of California have died over the last 7 days as an average daily. Or 7 days, sorry, the last 7 days. 64.6 people. How you get a 0.6? How you get a 0.6 and somebody to die?
I think
that should be whole numbers.
It's one of those, like, I think they when they do the averaging and whatnot, they just kind of say, this is what it is.
They just carry over the decimal, just drop the decimal, because you can't die 60%. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you either die or you don't,
right?
So, and that one of the things Donald Trump had said, and we're gonna get to Donald. we got to get to Donald Trump. God, we cannot have a podcast without talking about Donald Trump. He gives us so much cover. One day we will. Absolutely. Let's say after January, after the inauguration in 2021, maybe we'll have a little bit less Donald Trump. Hopefully he just fades in the background, like a distant memory,
which is also just
wishful thinking.
We have topics that are going to address some of my thoughts on this, though. So,
right? Absolutely. Yeah. I think next show you may be producing a lot of it. Give you that opportunity to just go through it and see. But we're gonna move on. I told you guys the leading states. So I'm not gonna stay on that. We're gonna go to the comments real quick. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, understand that we go live. This is a live podcast. It's not scripted. It's not edited. It is what it is. We say what we say. We can't get it back.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to us on Spotify and Apple, go to Facebook, go to YouTube. We stream live from those two platforms every Friday at 8 o'clock. So you can do what we're about to do now. We're going to go to the comments. We're not going to put up every comment. but we're gonna address some comments that are on the page so far. So we got one comment that says that was a long segment of crazy. So that was referring to the people in Florida advocating against the usage and wearing of masks.
Yeah, you know something else I want to throw out there, like when they talk, like people talk about the whole like God's plan and everything. It's like, bro, what if the plan was for you to die?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we all got to go at some point.
do.
It's like, bro, but what if the plan was, hey,
these are the chosen ones.
These are so. I mean, because at the end of the day, like a virus is just, it's like viruses and bacteria, pathogenic bacteria are pretty much the natural predator for humans. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
right. It's that thing. It's that thing that just comes
and it takes what it takes, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's like that could help keep the population where it need to be.
I said that early on when the coronavirus first struck in the United States. It was actually with Brandon. It was when we went out shooting.
Yeah.
So that you couldn't come out with us. And we were standing there after we shot on the range. And I was like, listen, dude, if you're destined to die from the coronavirus, unfortunately, I think that it's one of those things that you just can't shake.
Yeah.
Because you can get it everywhere. Like you can get it checking the mailbox.
Yeah.
If old girl on the mail truck got coronavirus and she sneezed on your envelope and you just so happen to get it within that 3-hour margin of how long or however long it stay on circuit, that changed like every day.
Yeah.
It changed,
the incubation period changes and on the lifespan on different surfaces.
In the air, on the surface, it changed every day. But if you're within that margin and you get that envelope out and you mess around and rub your face, subconsciously do something, boom, you got coronavirus.
Yeah.
We got another comment. Courtney says, great point, Eric, because I'm sure everything I have ordered has came from China on Amazon. So she's advocate. She's just saying, it comes from China. So,
I mean, but
a lot of that stuff, a lot of what we rely on.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it comes down to. I mean, some of us are gonna catch it, some of us ain't. A lot of people are asymptomatic. You got where the whole if you're just O blood type, not necessarily A or B. I mean, I'm sorry, not necessarily positive or negative. You got a 35% decreased chance of any respiratory failure. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas if you I think it was A positive,
right,
then you got a like 25% chance of
getting your higher rate.
You know what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, it's like the checks and balances of humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's just like
it is,
and it's something that you can't even see.
Right. The invisible. I'm quoting Donald Trump. I'm quoting Donald Trump so much to this episode. I can't believe it. The invisible enemy.
Hey, I mean, but
that's what
it's like
he got that one right. I mean, it is the invisible because you can't see it. You don't know that you are around it in most cases, and it attacks.
But this is my thing, right? Like, and this is a very politically incorrect statement, but like, okay, this is how I look at stuff. Like, when I look at like people talking about the coronavirus and how it's like, oh well, you're infringing on my rights by doing this and other, and while I think that all it takes is being modest, it's like if you want to get rid of a virus, right? For the most part, like I said, viruses aren't like fighting for survival. They're not fighting to live wherever they are. It's like if I sneeze on the table with coronavirus and land on the table, and nobody else touches this and gets it inside of them,
right?
It's just gonna die. It's just because it's not technically a lot. Like there's debate on whether a virus is alive or not.
Right? It does not. Yeah, it has to have a host, right? So if it doesn't have a host, then it will die.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like all viruses are. It's just a protein coded DNA strand.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
That affects your body when it comes in contact.
And so it's like okay, if you want to get rid of AIDS, right? If you really want to get rid of AIDS, how do you get rid of AIDS? And this is where I guess going into the whole Trump nonsensical speeches about or remarks about the coronavirus blew me. But if you wanted to like get rid of AIDS, like I feel like the simplest way to get rid of it would be if you could test, if you had where there were people who actually were ethical about this, not just trying to like spotlight certain people.
Right.
But if they were actually going around and giving people like legit tests and you tested everybody, and anybody who popped up positive for HIV or AIDS, you just quarantine them to where they can't infect anybody else. And then it's like then where would it come from at that point? You know what I'm saying? Like, because the thing is, it passes through transmission. You don't just get it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It passes through transmission. So if you had let's say if you just put everybody who had HIV or AIDS on an island or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Let them live, do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Provide them regular means of life. It's like we would never get it.
Right.
Like if you sleep with somebody, if you sleep with 50 people raw and none of them got AIDS, you probably ain't gonna get AIDS. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Right.
I mean, I'm not just like an expert in the field, but it's like, bro, like.
But no, I mean, it makes sense, right?
So,
you have to come in contact.
So the same practice with coronavirus, like, bro, just practice chilling out a little bit more often. Like, do you hate your own company so much that you can't just sit in the house a little bit more often?
Right. Right.
Or, I mean, bro, you can go in your front yard.
People are just, 3 months is a long time, I guess, for some people. And here's the thing: now it's gotten to a point where you can go outside. You just gotta just use common sense and wear a mask. People don't even want to do that. That's where it just gets bananas. It's almost like, you told me I couldn't have that Pop Tart, so Pop-Tart. Can't even talk Pop-Tart. So now I'm gonna eat the whole box. You told me I can have one. I'm just gonna go crazy. Like. People are not advocating stay at home now, at least not yet. They haven't started back. I think that's going to be the next thing. But I think a lot of these politicians are not going to go backwards. They're not going to close down.
Yeah, I mean,
period.
And the thing is, like, you don't have to close down. It's just be mindful.
Be mindful.
That's it. Just be mindful.
Yeah.
Like everybody who, thinks that it's not a real thing. Okay, well, cool. Like I don't usually wish bad on people, but it's like, okay, I hope somebody, gets it and then they just find out, you know what I'm saying?
You got to go through it. Sometimes you got to go through life to figure it out.
Exactly.
You know
what I'm saying? Like,
life is the best teacher.
It's kind of like when them, when it comes like hate to bring it back to like the police brutality and all that kind of stuff, or just anything dealing with like the suffering of blacks in America. But it's one thing when we just talking about it. It's another thing when you see in videos, when you're reading the documents or whatever else, and you seeing the documentaries that are highlighting these things, and they're like sensationalizing it to some extent, but it's really they're just telling the truth. They're just spitting the facts. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not here to try to like cater to somebody's feelings. I'm just here giving it to you. It's like, oh, well, now I get it. Dang, I see why they're angry now. And by the way, this is your mom or your grandmama who also went through this directly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
it puts that human connection to it. And a lot of times when you're looking at things from afar, you don't have that human connection.
It's a lot of judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, like, if we lived like, let's say, nomadic type people, then coronavirus probably wouldn't. I would say if we lived like people, let's say the way that like the Native Americans might have lived, or people that were just like kind of built in tribes or whatever, it's like it could possibly affect an entire tribe. But however, like the spread of it getting to like the entire country probably would happen, because people were just like, okay, you get sick, okay, we might just sit still for a minute, we might move around a little bit, but it's like the likelihood of me getting to the next person from this other tribe probably wouldn't happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it would just die with us. You know what I'm saying? Like whether we all died or not, you know what I'm saying? But then I'm just like, shit, it's just kind of keeping the strong alive. Shit. I mean, like that's a hard thing to say, but you know what I'm saying?
Keeping the strong alive. Well, we gotta move on away from the coronavirus, and guys, just know that it is increasing, and please wear a mask. Please take precaution. Please wash your hands. Continue to stay socially distanced when in public places. Even though it's hard, I'm noticing, like, when you go to places, people don't even. I mean, even when social distancing first came out, I know I was gonna move on. We will, but like it's the worst thing when you go into a store. And I did it like when I bought one of my recent computers. I bought it from Micro Center, and I was literally in line. And this is probably about a month ago. This is like when we first got off, kind of, and we still was in. No, it's the 1st of May. That's when we kind of got off the stay-at-home order in Georgia. And I was in there trying to buy this computer, had my mask on, and this guy was like right behind me. Like, he's like not socially. I'm like, sir, 6 feet,
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, and I'm not gonna say this. What I've noticed is when I go outside, when I go in my community, which I live in a predominantly black community, I see people socially distanced. I see people wear masks.
Yeah.
When I go in other parts of town, I don't see it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's definitely
I don't see
true.
it. And it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that ultimately, man, it's just like we keep circling back to is, being mindful. So it's not about being overly paranoid. It's not about, raising hell, but it's like, okay, hey, like I'm a person that uses a lot of profanity. You know what I'm saying? However, if my granny doesn't want me using profanity around her, then I'm gonna be a little mindful about it.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
And so it's like, okay, cool. It's like, and I've used it around her before. You know what I mean? However, I can respect her wish. So it's like, okay, if I'm around somebody and they say, hey, could you, back up a little bit? Okay, cool. I get that there's something going on.
Right.
Like me taking a few steps back is no reason for me to, that doesn't, or somebody just saying, hey, could you just step back a little bit? Okay, cool. Cause I don't know what their life is. I don't know what their situation is.
Right.
So it's like,
just respecting
it's just respecting people's differences. You know, it's just respecting people's wishes enough. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm not about to sit up here and just like, I don't know, like just do like something ridiculous for the sake of somebody else's comfort. But it's like, bro, just
the easy is an easy give.
Right. It's a very easy give. And it doesn't stop me from getting where I gotta go.
Right.
Like if I take 6 steps back, I'm still the next person in line. You know what I mean? Like it'll be okay.
Well, let's move on to Donald Trump's Juneteenth rally. I watched the whole 3 hours and a half.
I could not. I had other things to do, man.
I know, right? It was, I took 3 pages of notes for this show because it was a very interesting rally, and to me from the beginning, and I know people are gonna listen back to this podcast and be like, bro, you find what you're looking for, and I do believe that. I believe that if you're looking for it, you will find it. So one of the things I noticed, and I mean, maybe I shouldn't have said that so emphatically, but I wasn't looking for this, but I found it.
Yeah.
So when you look at the rally, if you go back and look at the rally, there was 2 podiums on the stage. It was 2. No, it was not. It wasn't. It was 2 microphones on the stage. One was a podium, the president podium. The other one was just a freestanding mic. What I observed, now this is just my observation. Now y'all can go back and watch it for yourself, but this is what I saw with my own 2 eyes that God gave me himself. The black people used the microphone to the right, the one on the side.
I said she had a colored only and for whites podium.
I didn't. That's what I saw.
That's what it sounded like.
Literally every white person, dude,
used
that microphone that the president of the United States used. The white woman by the name of Kimberly, I didn't get her. I didn't jot her last name down, but she was the finance advisor. His daughter-in-law and son used that microphone. Now, there was 3 other speakers before Trump came on the stage. One was T.W. Shannon. He's a black Republican politician. And now, don't get me twisted, guys. I don't have anything wrong with black conservatives. If you are a black person and you're a conservative, by all means, if that's your values, do what you do. I have conservative beliefs in certain points as well, but I don't identify as a Republican. But anyway, T.W. Shannon got up. He spoke. He is a advisor for Black Voices for Trump. He used that microphone to the right. Diamond and Silk, the duo, the 2 black women that was his only black supporters when he first ran, Donald Trump. So they used that microphone. So that was my first observation on the Donald Trump Juneteenth rally. Now this is Juneteenth, by the way. This is Juneteenth weekend.
So, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I think that there was a lot of symbology there. There's a lot of symbolism there. Obviously, this is my thing. Okay, like I get the whole like if you're looking for it, you find it type deal.
Right.
However, if I told you that if you look at this right here, right, and you see a mason jar, and I tell you it's a shotgun. Like, do you suddenly see a shotgun? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's just what it is, that's just what it is.
Absolutely.
So I don't think that you have to like, preface it if that's just what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes racist shit just happens, and it's like people try to make us afraid of speaking on the truth.
Out. Yeah.
And it's like, bro, just because it's there doesn't mean I have to unseal. That's the fucking problem now is people act like they can't see shit.
Right.
Or they want you to just look away. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It is what it is. And you're right. If you didn't produce it, I can't see it. Period. If it didn't happen, I can't see it.
Exactly.
So Diamond and Silk, they used the other microphone. So that was my first observation of stupidity. And I was like, I was literally rooting. No, so all right. So T.W. Shannon came out. So the first person that used that side mic.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. There was one white woman used the black microphone. Okay, there was one
Negro mic.
the Negro, but the colored mic. There was one woman that used it, and she was the one who did the national anthem. So she did it from that mic, and it could have something to do with the acoustics or whatever. But okay, so maybe I was wrong. They did have one other person use the microphone. But so after I saw that, I saw that. I was like, wow, this is going to be an interesting rally. So then T.W. Shannon, he got up there, he rallied, and he actually said that this is a protest. People being in the rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma is a protest. So now he's trying to cast and take away from the real protest of equality and justice and the fight for Black Lives Matter. We're literally just screaming to people that our lives matter, and not to say yours don't, but we just trying to remind you because you never understood that since we was here.
Why is that so? Why is that such a controversial thing? You know what I'm saying?
Well, we could talk all day about that. It's ridiculous. But so he came out, he didn't say anything crazy beyond, but Diamond and Silk said some stuff to me. That said some stuff that stood out. These two Black women got on that stage and said all lives matter. Now she didn't lead in with Black Lives Matter. Now here's what I would say. If you lead in with Black Lives Matter and then you follow with all lives matter, okay, I'll accept that because you're acknowledging the struggle first.
Yeah, I mean, because when that first came out, I was like on some all lives matter after Black Lives Matter, because you can't have one of us is out of the equation,
right?
And I really wish, you ever had a song that you hear and it's like, I wish I had been the one to come with that song. You just hear something like, I wish I had. So it was a comedian, and I saw this special a while back, but it was playing again last night on TV, and he was saying something about how with 9/11, for example, it's never forget, never forget 9/11, we're supposed to forget everything else. And only 3,000 people died. Okay, cool. But we never forget. And we're still in the Middle East now from something that sparked from 9/11.
Right.
And he was like, okay, so I should get a t-shirt made with the Twin Towers on that says all buildings matter. And I was like, bro, I wish I had been the originator of that one. I ain't gonna lie to you, just to to have the Twin Towers up here. And then have a couple of the different
major
economic,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Towns or whatever on the bottom. Or whatever order, maybe next to each other. So and just say all buildings matter. You know what I'm saying? So and since everybody knows about Tulsa, Oklahoma now, or at least more people are aware of it.
Right.
Just have okay, you got the Twin Towers right here. And then let's say a bank or something in Tulsa on this side that's on fire, and say all buildings matter.
Right.
Just to provoke some people, because it's bro, we still talking about 9/11, you know what I'm saying? And we commemorate it. We mention it every year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We have a moment of silence every year. You know what I'm saying?
but we so casually forget the sacrifice that our people, they want us to forget everything that we endured.
Yeah.
That don't matter.
Yeah.
That's not remember, never forgotten.
So it's some bullshit ass semantic type shit where it's bro, clearly all lives matter, bro. All we saying is just stop treating us like shit. We built this country, bro.
Right, on our backs.
Come on now, just let me live. That's it. Just let me live and don't fuck with me.
Right,
that's it.
I posted something on the New Wave page, and it said, we don't want, what did I post it? I think I said, what I said. I'm gonna have to edit this out of the audio version of the podcast.
Shout out to iCast Studios.
Yeah, that's Teoria.
Hey,
yeah, you missed Malia. You did. You have to watch it back on the replay. But I posted we are not fighting for white folks to like us. We're fighting for the system to respect us.
That's it, bro.
I'd be damned if I'm gonna fight for a white person to like me. I don't care if you like me or not.
I don't care, bro.
But I need the system to respect.
That's it.
The fact that when you break the law, you go to jail just like as if I break the law.
Yeah.
Let me get through. This Diamond and Silk. So they led out with all lives matter. And then she said that all lives matter. She didn't, and then she said Black Lives Matter after all lives matter. So she put herself second to the all lives matter movement. Now, I do agree that she is all lives. Her life, she's in the midst, but her people is the one that's suffering right now.
Yeah.
The only color, she said, the only color Donald Trump. She said that Donald Trump is not a racist. The only color he sees is green. Then she said to leave the statues alone.
Somewhat true.
That is true. I do agree with that. But I don't agree with the notion that he's not racist.
Yeah.
Leave the statues alone. So now she's advocating for the Confederate statues that put her people in slavery.
Mm-hmm.
and wanted her people to stay slaves to this day. If those Confederate soldiers would have won, do they not realize that we would still be slaves?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would exist on the North and the South. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is. Or at least, extreme racism would exist on the North and the South. You just it was just two sides of the same coin. And I don't want to say too much on it, but because I don't want to hold up the topics or whatever. But I saw something where they were talking about, people wanting to pretty much rewrite the history, or pretty much like change the narrative of history. It's like, well, nobody's trying to change the narrative of history, to think, because that's what the white supremacist system has been doing all this time. They've been trying to rewrite the narrative of history. We're just trying to have the correct and the full story being told,
right? Not
something that's biased as fuck towards somebody else,
right?
Like that's what we want. So it's like, yeah, people should know that George Washington was a fucking slave owner. People should know that the forefathers were a slave owner of this country. They ain't my goddamn forefathers, whatever. But it's like,
right.
My forefathers were the ones in chains and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or the ones that were sharecropping.
Right.
When we look at like these people, we have to just like no different than how, they using what's the name, Gayle King to try to highlight Kobe Bryant's fucking rape charge or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's part of his legacy. Well, shit. Owning slaves and having slave teeth in your mouth, that's part of George Washington fucking legacy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like stealing black people's inventions and shit and making it your own patent. Like that's part of these other people's history, bro. Like, so why
tell
can't
that just as loudly
their
as
full legacy?
Right.
If you can sit up here and talk about Michael Jackson and talk about him, touching little boys and shit, it's like, bro, like why can't we also talk about these people and what they've done?
Yeah.
Like we can give the full scope for everybody, but it's okay when it's us.
Yeah, because whitewashing is real, man. The whitewashing is real and hiding their true colors. They want, there was a interview that the president of Black Lives Matter New York did with Fox News. I forget this anchor, the white lady. She's a white lady. And literally, man, he destroyed her as it relates to the type of condemnation she tried to cast on him, because he said literally, we will burn this whole damn country down and build it over.
I have been meaning to watch that.
If it comes to that, I think that we have to understand that this is a new day and age. Why people can't just understand that this should be used as a turning of the page.
Yeah.
Start a new chapter.
Like like we said before, like the sins of America have to be repented for. That's just what it is.
Right.
And it starts with because Native Americans have had, some kind of bullshit reparations or whatever. Like reparations have been given to people. I mean, hell, you even had where Joe Biden was a part of this, where they gave reparations.
We're gonna talk about Jim Crow Joe.
He was a part of the he was a part of like pushing for reparations for Jews. Victims of the Holocaust or whatever, who were in what Jerusalem or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, bro, what do we have to do with them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, hey, like that's what has to happen. If America is going to continue with this narrative of we're a nation of equality and freedom of speech and all this other stuff, it's like we have to right the wrongs, because you had where there was obviously there was a maldistribution of the land and every resource in this land. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that has to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with uprooting it and start it over.
The hypocrisy of America is one of the things that never ceases to surprise.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this country, and some of us are guilty of it. I mean, in our day-to-day lives, hypocrisy is one of the things that I think keep the mentality of people condemned. Because you can literally say this on Monday. Yep. And go completely opposite on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, that's what happens with politics all the time.
And then people, when they call you out on it, you say, "How dare you?"
Bro.
Like that's the most hypocritical bullshit. And then to try to say that black people, by burning down the country and rebuilding it over, is somehow doing something that the other side, don't understand. This country was built on violence.
Built on violence.
I mean, every aspect of our country is built on it.
Negative verb that you could think of, it was pretty much what built this country. I mean,
oh boy.
And
so Diamond and Silk, she called Jim Crow. She called Joe. She said Jim Crow Joe because he was on the wrong side of history, which I do have a bone to pick with Joe Biden, but I do believe that he is better than Trump. I think that I think that we got to go to the polls and we got to vote for Joe Biden, period. I mean, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
I do wish it was a different candidate.
I would say,
I
hate that it comes down to that, and I hate our
do.
political system as a whole.
And you do realize we're in the same boat that we were in 2016.
Yeah, like it was
literally
like, which evil are you gonna pick?
Exactly. Neither one of them ain't worth shit.
Granted, most elections come down to that, but it's like, I really do hate our political system. But I'll say that I don't want to deviate too far.
It's like, go ahead. We got all night. The people, as long as y'all want to listen, we gonna talk.
Well, shit, we gonna talk then, because T been throwing out a whole bunch of stuff, and we didn't.
All right, let's go to her comments. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what was this? Exactly. It's a white and black law period. Well, yeah, on paper and in practice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when that comment was said, we are still slaves to the system.
Mm-hmm.
I think what they fucked up at is letting the internet be accessible to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then letting stuff like YouTube get out.
Right.
And they fucked up when they had like actual freedom of speech. Like, but
right.
The thing
And
is,
this is the thing that the thing that kills me is that people got to understand that we respect our ancestors. We love our ancestors for what they had to endure for us to have a different today than they had. But we ain't our ancestors.
Nah, bro. Like,
it's a completely different narrative. You're dealing with a completely different people.
Everywhere I go, I got that thing on me. It's just like, so it's like, please don't.
But we do got to get that system fixed, and we got to get the system fixed so that we can have that equality and that respect.
Yeah, so this is actually, and this kind of ties to the conversation we had before when I mentioned that like abolishing slavery was just a political move in the interest of the North. It in no way was to benefit black people. Nobody gave a fuck about 3/5 of people because that was a constitution that was going for the entire country. If that's the case, why not make us all full people? But anyway, among other things. But like the biggest issue I have with our political system is the winner takes all type deal. Where it's like, okay, Georgia, I think we had, what do we have, like 17 districts or 16, whatever the district number is. So it's like, it should not be where, okay, if one person just happens to win more than everybody else, then they win all.
Talking about the delegates, yeah,
the delegates. It's like, bro, like it should just be, okay, if you won 4, this person won 3, this person won 7, then that's just how the fuck it should go.
Just like when you play, just like when you play spade.
Right,
you tally that whole score. You can't
that whole score. You just get what you get. You know what I'm saying?
Whoever come out on top, come out on top.
Like I get that, like everybody should have an equal. Different regions should have equal votes. So equal. You know what I'm saying? Representation. It shouldn't be where like the 4 million people in Atlanta can speak for the, let's say, 7 million people in all of Georgia. However, the goddamn couple 100,000 within these different areas, or you know what I'm saying, shouldn't have that much influence over that many other people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just not fair. It's like it should just flat out be, okay, you won this particular region or this district, whatever, cool. You take them. Everybody else, you know what I'm saying, follow along. But then we have where we stuck with Biden and fucking Trump, bro.
Biden
like,
and Trump, that's
this
what we got,
bro. But it's like,
well, Diamond and Silk also advocated remove every Democrat. That's their campaign. But let me get into a little bit about what Donald Trump said in this rally, because we got the title of Donald Trump Juneteenth rally. So one of the biggest things that I was disappointed, and I don't know if I should use the word disappointed, because you really can't have too much of high expectation when it comes to Donald Trump. You have to just really have no expectation and just get what you get. But his campaign came out and they was talking about how they chose Juneteenth to do this rally because it was a significant day. It marked a turn in history, blah, 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 right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
it did. No, it 100% did. But they framed it in a way that they were going to somehow pay homage to or to uplift. So if this same rally had happened on Juneteenth, it would have been disrespectful as hell, because here's one of the reasons why I say it would have been disrespectful. Donald Trump didn't start talking about black folks at the end of the damn speech. He didn't open up saying anything about Juneteenth. He opened up, literally, first thing he said, fake news claiming peaceful protest. The buildings are on fire. He talked about how the news journalists. Now, one of the things I will say, man, listening to Donald Trump's rallies are amusing as crap. Like they are really funny.
It's funny because it's like he'll say so much and be saying nothing, and then it's like when it comes to serious matters,
right?
He's very short.
They're very short, yeah, because he don't have a whole lot to talk
for
about.
A long fucking time about him at what was it, West Point, I think,
falling down the ramp.
Where he was trying to fall on the ramp or whatever.
Oh, he gave every detail precisely, every detail when it came to that. But he opened up the rally talking about the claims against the peaceful protesters, saying that they're not peaceful, that they're burning down everything. He also called the virus a Chinese virus again. He said that the left are trying to desecrate the history of supremacists. Trying to desecrate the history of supremacists. You damn right. We need to decimate the history of supremacists because they shouldn't have a place in our future. Yeah. So why are we framing it?
At least not in the sense of like honoring it. It's like
exactly. If you want to go to the damn Confederate Museum, go to the Confederate Museum.
Right. Yeah, and I don't see nothing wrong with like with keeping that history. You know what I'm saying, in the books and making it something that we can all see.
Right.
However, it's like we shouldn't be championing these people as fucking heroes, bro. Like that's just what it is. I mean,
and I think you know what's crazy? I think we're living in a time that
he should have been a comedian. Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah, we got to come and say that he should have been a comedian instead of the president. And Donald Trump is really, like I said, he's a very entertaining dude to watch. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's smart or he's charismatic or anything like that, but he's entertaining as crap.
He should have been somebody with a Snapchat, right? But just it, like just somebody who just goes live on IG all the time and say ridiculous shit. He should have been that person. Than to be the fucking president, you know what I'm saying?
and the thing about it to me that makes it so amusing is because he's saying something that's just flat out retarded, but he is so serious. Like his temperament of when he's saying it is just so serious, and it's almost like a contrast of like, okay, should I laugh or should I not? And it's kind of weird.
I mean, and they're like, I don't
maybe his humor is just.
I don't hate the guy. I don't give a fuck about him, but it's like I don't like the idea of him running the country. That's it.
Right. So then he talked about defunding and dissolving the police. He said, he told a story about, you call 911 and then this part was funny to me. He said, you call 911 and then they answer the phone and say, sorry, this number is out of service, and and the animation that he used. And then one of the things he said, going back to the coronavirus, he said that the coronavirus is fake. Basically, no, he didn't say the coronavirus is fake. He said the numbers are fake. So he talked about how there's one little boy 10 years old and he got the sniffles. Add him to the list. He has coronavirus. So he plays with the coronavirus in such a jovial way, in such a to where people aren't going to. And now we're wondering why people in Florida are sitting here protesting and wearing a mask. Yeah. It's because the president of the United States does not take it serious.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's just not right. It's not proper protocol, bro. Like you cannot play. I mean, people are dying, and it's like when I saw that it was like no mask, whatever at the Trump rally. It's like, bro, like y'all are just asking for it at that point. Like y'all just want this shit to happen. I mean, if you don't want to wear a mask, but I'm not infringing on that. Like that's your right to do so. However, it's like you have to just think about the other ramifications for what the fuck you're doing. Right. Like, you can't be out here just saying like, no, like we're against the mad, we're just gonna all be out here. Bro, like how many hands did Trump shake when he was at his rally? That's what I want to know.
Here's the question of 2020. To me, I think a lot of people are wondering, how in the hell has Donald Trump not caught the coronavirus? Because see, now that really makes me think.
Yeah.
That he's maybe messaging and sending a message and some people just not picking up on it. Because bro don't wear no mask. He mass gather. He shake everybody's hand even though he don't supposed to.
Yeah.
How hasn't he caught the damn coronavirus?
Well, I mean, when it comes to just like the basics of biology, it's like, or microbiology, like at the end of the day, if something's airborne, like first off, any virus, like the way we contract them is through inhaling, ingesting. I mean, I guess, your eyes too, to some extent. So it's like, I can shake a million hands. If I don't touch my face, I'm not really tripping about it.
Right.
If I'm not around people like, and they coughing and shit, you know what I'm saying? Doing all that, then I'm probably not going to catch it. Like,
right.
I mean, you got to think like, granted, we're not shaking as many hands as Trump. However, like we still go about life and we're in places where people are still contracting. Like Atlanta is still having people contract the virus.
Right.
It's just, as long as you being mindful of what you're doing, as long as you putting on some hand sanitizer to kill them viruses or whatever else, then you straight.
So let me play devil's advocate for a moment. All right. So the media says that this is a highly contagious virus. Like it is the thing that makes it so deadly is contagion. That it can catch like that, and it stays in the air, blah blah blah.
Right.
So if all of those things are true of how contagious it is, and then 6 members of his own campaign. Now, there has been numerous of times where the media has came out and said somebody on Trump's cabinet or administration has the coronavirus.
Right.
The vice president of the United States' own secretary, chief of staff, had the coronavirus.
Yeah.
How in the fuck are these people not catching the coronavirus if it's so serious?
Well, I get the only other thing I look at it, that is like, one, I do believe that sensationalism is real, and I think that it could be used as a way to just like up the response because people aren't taking it serious enough. I also think that
and that's just me playing devil's advocate.
No. It's real though. You know what I'm saying?
I do think it's real. I do think
I'm not talking about like what you're saying. Your points are very fair and truthful. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody didn't answer that question.
Yeah, and so like my thing is, okay, one, I think that the response is definitely going to be like you do have like a fine line between where somebody is claiming something is security, but it could infringe on people's freedoms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? However, you also have probabilities where it's like, okay, yeah, like it's a probability that somebody who got it might have caught it at a time when they wasn't actually around these people that could have, like Trump or Pence or whoever else. That's another thing. You also have where, I mean, shit, like Trump could just be taking precaution that he isn't showing us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too many things that we just don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And things that we probably ain't even thinking about. Because who's to say how these people got it and then where they went after that? You know what I'm saying? And then you still some of the incubation periods. Like I could have it, but if I'm still going through the incubation period, I'm not showing any symptoms. I'm probably not even spreading it at that point.
Right.
So it's like
until I'm being able to shed the virus. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like until that virus gets to the point where I'm actually able to spread it, I'm of no harm to anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's a bunch of mystery. It's a bunch of mystery behind it. However, I would it's like, but what else is killing these people? You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. Like what else is killing people?
Yeah. You can't deny exactly. You can't deny that the coronavirus is serious and that it's real and that it's killing people.
But there is a dismissal. There has been a dismissal of people just saying like, oh yeah, just it's COVID, whatever.
Yeah, that is true.
That
point is true that he made about how they just add people to the list. This came out probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Actually,
sooner than that.
Yeah,
it was sooner than that when that first came out.
Yeah, of how if you're dying. So like right now, if I go out here and I, God knock on, God protect me. I go out here and get in a car accident and get killed, and I was asymptomatic.
Yeah.
They gonna add me in the count of coronavirus?
Well, they mentioned that George Floyd had coronavirus.
Right. You think they added him in the count?
I don't know, but they mentioned. I'm like, what the fuck they got to do with anything?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
if they added George Floyd in the numbers for coronavirus, that is some straight up bullshit.
And actually, T with iCast Studios actually mentioned something that I was gonna say too. He's talking about like stop testing and the numbers go down. Like that's this type of shit that places like China and Iran do. Where it's like, okay, we'll just lie about what's going on, and we'll just do something to fabricate. Like the same thing you're saying that they're doing, is what you're doing. If you go and say, okay, well, yeah, the U.S. is showing that we're going down on people popping up positive for coronavirus. Well, yeah, that's gonna fucking happen if you stop testing everybody. If you just stop testing altogether, we'll never have another like confirmed case of coronavirus.
Right. People just be dead. Yeah, I mean, it won't be recorded. Hey, have you talked to Brandy? No, go over there. She dead as hell.
Right. So what? Like, if anything, that helps keep it. Like, if you can test as many people as possible, say, I know that they got it. Okay, cool. You go quarantine yourself. Don't fucking touch nobody. Get you in the HEPA filters.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And keep me right by your damn face all day.
Right.
And when that shit is over, it's over. You know what I'm saying? And we move forward. But
100%.
I don't know, man. Like,
well, the last part I want to say about this Trump rally, man, he came in for Joe. He came for Joe Biden. Basically, he advocated and said that Joe Biden will surrender the country to the anarchists. He's a puppet for the radical left. Joe champions the bailout of the looters and the people that are breaking the laws and being criminals. So he, Donald Trump is all gloves off. He's ready to campaign. He's ready to fight. I hope Joe Biden comes out of the debate. He did mention Joe Biden was hiding in the basement. So I can't be remiss of not saying that. Joe, you need to come out of the basement and go ahead and do a rally.
He know how old he is.
Yeah. Joe, I don't think Joe need to come out. I think, I was listening to one podcast and the host said that they need to just put Joe, give him a game and let him play that game.
Yeah.
Let him play that game the whole presidency.
Yeah.
No, the whole campaign.
Yeah.
And so he don't say anything.
Yeah.
Because we all know, that Joe Biden, yeah, man, some ain't right. But that's all we got. I mean,
he's playing the game, man. That's it. I mean, bro, like
Joe Biden.
Bro, like I really don't like where all this is going. And read that point off again, Tim. Because it was something that you said in just the last, the last segment that you just read. Because it was something that you mentioned that
he'll bail out the looters.
Okay, yeah. So
Joe Biden campaign actually gave money to bail out the people, the looters.
Yeah. So that part, I want to address that part, right? So this is my issue with like Trump addressing, the riots and the looting and all kinds of, and just like, and they also try to fabricate, the media tried to fabricate the actual quote unquote rioting that was going on in Tulsa, whatever. And it's like there really wasn't anything going on.
Right.
It was like very minimal, and
our prayers work.
Yeah.
We prayed over Tulsa.
Yeah,
we got out the alley yesterday.
And shout out to the bit man for that. You know what I'm saying? But and for reaching them people's hearts and everything. But my thing is, you're talking about the symptom without addressing the problem. It's like, bro,
right.
But why? It's like, why are people doing this? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, when it comes to anything else, you know what I'm saying? Like you have a lot of crime that goes down because of lack of resources. Like if I'm somebody who know that I'm making whatever money I'm making and I'm good with my life, why do I need to go and rob somebody?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean that in like just a general way, not the people that are greedy and want to rob the country.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Rob the bank, like, you know what I'm saying? Just like bankrupt an entire nation or whatever. However, when you're talking about just most of your crimes, if people just had the means, they wouldn't be resorting to that kind of stuff because nobody would have to. But of course you have part of a lot of people's happiness is the fact that they have some other people don't. But,
right.
That's another human factor.
I think it goes back to that point that you were making about the never forgotten. They forget.
Yeah.
They forget what got you there.
Or they want you to forget. It's like, America has a very short-term memory and it's very biased on top of that. You know what I'm saying? It's a very biased memory. It's like, bro, like people are mad for several reasons, but it's like people also forget that like literally if you look through the past 120 years, so just go back to 1900 and look at every riot in this history. Just look and see who was a part of that riot. Like how many of them riots went down, you know what I'm saying? And who was actually behind it? Like most of your riots in this country, and I mean probably 99% of them were white people.
Right.
This is what it was. I mean, so it's like there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that. It's just the history of it.
Right.
Just like people talk about, folks responding the way they did now. It's like, bro, people rioted when Martin Luther King got killed.
Right.
Like that's just what happens, bro. Like, but we have to address the why instead of the what is now. Like, why is it this way now? Rather than look at the why, look at the how, you know what I'm saying? Not looking at just the what.
Right.
The what is just the starting point. And then we build a reaction off of that because it's like, well, maybe if we just did what black people asked and just stop fucking killing everybody for non-violent offenses or just treat them like animals.
Right.
If we treat them a little bit more fairly within this grander system, maybe they wouldn't be on us so fucking much.
Right.
But I don't know, whatever.
We're going to catch a quick break, guys. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about Bubba Wallace and NASCAR, possible setup. So y'all don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, you're watching New Wave Real Talk. We'll be back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We are back. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. We're almost to the last part of our show. So if you guys are liking the show, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, definitely go ahead and hit the like button and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. So you know, we got somebody that's standing up in sports right now. That's been given a unique opportunity to really effect change and try to effect change and use his voice.
Yeah.
We're talking about Bubba Wallace and the incident that he had, when it comes to NASCAR and the noose that was found in his garage stall. And I'm gonna give you what my take is on it. So I think that it shows where we are as a country, and it shows the fact that we still got progress to do. I'll say that first. I do believe that Bubba Wallace is not a Jesse Smollett, and I want to, I want to. It's crazy that people are literally advocating the bridge between Jesse and Bubba. All right, so I think that you can't condemn everybody for one person's F up.
It should never be that way.
Exactly. And so I stand with Bubba Wallace, but I also got a bone to pick with NASCAR.
Okay.
I do. And here's my what my bone to pick with NASCAR is. I feel like NASCAR could have potentially set Bubba Wallace up and to get the attention, to continue to get the attention, because what I've heard is that since Bubba Wallace came out and talking about fairness and justice at the races and the bringing down of the Confederate flag, that has made people interested in NASCAR.
I would say, that's I mean, that's exactly that was actually an opinion of mine without even knowing that was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just it brought people's attention to NASCAR because I don't watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, granted, I feel like being there is probably exciting as fuck because it's like, you've seen these cars come past you at like probably 100 some miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's got to be a rush.
About 130, 140, 160.
Watching it on TV is like, bro, like,
right.
They going around again,
right? Right. And so I was talking to Anta about this, and I was just, she was talking about how she really never really liked NASCAR, but me personally, I really like NASCAR, and I liked it because it was I like cars, and I love driving, and I love driving fast, and so to be able to see the Camaros and the the regular average everyday car supposedly, but these race cars that just got the grill.
How do you think a Tesla Roadster or Model S will hold up?
I think Elon,
they got battery for it,
right? They're gonna have to make it a hybrid. I don't think it's gonna get. I don't think it's gonna go all the laps.
The Roadster got like supposed to have like over 500 though,
right? What was my miles?
Yeah, over 500. I mean, granted, if you're going, max speed,
right,
it's
gonna affect
like about 300. But
yeah, it's gonna affect. And then you got to think about. I mean, some races are like 500 laps. You know what I mean? Sheesh. So, hey, I don't know. Elon,
is that what it's called? Based on 500?
Yeah. So the 500, like 500,
and that's like 500 miles, or is it like?
I think. Well, no, I don't know how many miles the laps.
Well, no,
are.
it can't be 500 miles because that'd be like a whole day.
Yeah, no.
Like,
I mean, races can go on for a long time.
You know what I'm saying? Like the thing, like traveling 500 miles, even if you're going 160, like you still talking about like what from Atlanta to Orlando is probably like 300 and some miles. And you
from where?
From Atlanta to Orlando?
Yeah, that's probably about five, right at 600 miles.
I ain't finna Google it right now. I ain't even worried about it. But it's like you're talking about like an 8-hour trip. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm gonna fact check.
Okay, I take that back. I've been fact checked. The Chromebook producer has said that the Geico 500 was 188 laps, so I stand corrected.
Okay.
So 188 laps is a 500-mile race. So it is 500 miles though.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All
so
in
that's
one sitting?
All in one
Bruh.
sitting. Yep. So but so I believe that this whole Bubba Wallace issue and incident. So let me tell y'all the timeline for people that are watching or listening to the podcast by way of Apple or Spotify, that you got to be living under a rock to kind of not know what we're talking about. But if you don't, so on June 21st, Sunday, June 21st, about between 9 and 10 o'clock, Bubba Wallace told the Dan Patrick Show on Wednesday the crew got to the track on Sunday between 9 and 10 and immediately got started on the car. So around 4:14 that same day, the Talladega Speedway announces that the social media that the race was pushed back due to bad weather to Monday. So the race was supposed to be on the 21st, got pushed back to the 22nd. On the 22nd, at about 5:30 to 6 o'clock, I think this was on that Sunday. Yeah, so on that Sunday, Bubba Wallace received a call from NASCAR president Steve Phelps, and it was a phone call he never forget. Now, Bubba Wallace didn't see the news. Bubba Wallace did not go into the garage stall. Bubba Wallace did not create this.
Right.
This was not created by Bubba Wallace. And so that's one of the things that I disagree with when people try to make the comparison to Jesse Smollett.
Yeah.
Jesse said he was attacked.
Yeah.
You know, he fabricated this. He created it. He was there. He was one
championing the fucking noose around his neck. Like, bro, who walks around like who?
Right. But so
anyway.
Bubba Wallace wasn't even there. He got a call from the president of NASCAR, let him know what had happened. Now, the person that called NASCAR was Crops and the crew chief Jerry Baxter. So Jerry Baxter is the one who called, I guess, NASCAR officials and said, "Hey, we got a problem.
Yeah,
there's a goddamn noose sitting up here in the garage stall. We ain't got that but one black race car driver.
Yeah,
and we done checked all the other stalls, and ain't nobody else got
I
this
hate
type
that his
of
name is Bubba.
well, his
Bubba
first
Wallace.
name, his real name is Daryl. Is it
Right.
Daryl?
I just hate his name is Bubba Wallace. Bro. His nickname is
Bubba. You know,
Sound
I
like some
actually was crazy that you say that, because so Ethan had this little outfit on last Saturday or Saturday after last.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was gonna go fishing. And I said, "Hey, Bubba."
Yeah.
You know, so maybe that's how it, you know, maybe that's how it started.
Yeah.
But so, you know, the president of NASCAR called him and said, "Hey man, we found this in your stall. We condemn this. We do not agree with this. We're going to find out who did it. We're going to kick him off the NASCAR or whatever." So it was all, you know, it was all this to me, this big fanfare created by NASCAR.
Because now you about to have a bunch of people like we riding with Bubba Wallace. So it was like,
right,
if he it's kind of like when Obama was going into office. You know what I'm saying? You had a lot of black people just praise. Regardless, they didn't even know what he stood for. It's like, I'm just voting for him because he's black. You know what I'm saying?
You get that.
Watching NASCAR just because Bubba Wallace is there now. Which I mean, hey, I ain't mad at NASCAR for, you know, doing what's best for them on a business scale. But it's like, okay, but what kind of like real change y'all going, you know what I'm saying, try to invoke?
Right.
You know
what's going to be the long-term change? So June 22nd, NASCAR released a statement publicly about the news. So they did it on Monday morning. So this is the same day that the race is supposed to begin. So that morning at 7:22, NASCAR came out with the statement, you know, just basically saying late Sunday afternoon, NASCAR was made aware of a noose found in the garage stall of number 43, the number 43 team. We're angry, outraged, and cannot state strongly enough how seriously we take this heinous act. We have launched an immediate investigation and we'll do everything we can to identify the persons responsible and eliminate them from the sport, as we have stated. So forcefully, right?
Yeah, this is my thing though, right? This is how you know racism still exists in America.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck do people still know how to tie nooses in the 21st century? You know what I'm saying? Like, if racism doesn't exist, if all this shit was only relevant back in, like, let's say the 70s on back.
Right.
Okay, well, most of them people is probably old by now. You know what I'm saying? The people that's actually tying nooses and doing all that kind of stuff. Like, what other use do you have for a noose other than hanging motherfuckers? Like, what are people using it for, like cattle or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, educate me on that. Right. I need to go educate myself on that. But it's like, why the fuck do people still even know how to tie nooses now? It's like, of all the Boy Scout knots in the world, you know what I'm saying, that have practical use today,
right?
Why the fuck are people still tying nooses?
Right.
You
No,
know?
you're right. It's a clear evidence that, and I always tell people, racism, hate, all of that stuff is taught. It's not inherent to who we are genetically as people.
Right.
Typically, you know, when you're born, you just love. It's innocence. You love.
You just love and observe.
Exactly.
Without questioning.
Exactly. And so you're taught hate. There was one woman on the news TV. I think she was in Talladega or she was outside of one of these NASCAR events, and she said, "I'm going to teach my grandson how to use the N-word. I'm going to teach him how to use the N-word." So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, you know, and so that's why I say to people, how dare you act like you don't know what you did and why people are enraged.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be living on freaking Mars, not even on Earth, because racism and inequality for Black people is not only in the United States.
Right.
It's everywhere on this planet.
Right.
So if you are a living being on this planet and you can look at me and tell me that you never knew that racism existed, something is totally wrong.
When you treat somebody who is darker differently solely because they're darker, hey, you know what I mean?
You have a problem.
But people are so deeply embedded into the racial shit subconsciously, psychologically, you know what I'm saying, and even physically, where it's like people don't recognize it. Well, those who aren't victims of it don't recognize. They just
because of their privilege. They don't have to.
And then some actually can, but they just don't want us to. You know what I'm saying? But the ones that are actually pushing the agenda, they are aware of it. Actually, so on that whole training thing, it's like something funny actually happened today. So my granny sent me a text message. And you know, like people get stuff from like, let's say Facebook or whatever. So it's like, yeah, we have to fact check these things that we see. But I mean, enough of it be true, at least in my experience. So she sent me a picture of a little boy with his mom, and both of them had on Klan outfits or whatever. And so the caption said that it was Governor Kemp when he was a little boy. So it's like he was in the whole like Klan get up. Wow. Now, like I said, I would have to research to see if it's actually true. However, like I said, just within the scope of things that I've received that way, it's like they typically had truth to them.
So allegedly, we have a picture. There's a picture surfacing.
And I can show you. I can show you right now.
Okay. Wow. So you guys are maybe hearing this for the first time here on the
funny
podcast.
part about it was like, so the way that the way that popped up on my phone, because I don't have a picture of my granny on here. But like my brother's name started with a G, and then I had my granny say it was granny. So I thought it was my brother that texted me. So the first thing I seen was like GTFOH, and I was like, "You fucking lying." And I didn't even know that was my granny. I was talking. She was like, "What is GTFOH?" And I'm like, "What does GTFOH mean?" I'm like, "Oh shit."
You text that to her after you got the picture.
Yeah. I think I was like in and out of sleep at that time.
Right.
I got
and you thought that was your brother. I
got up and like handle some business or whatever, and then left it at that.
So I'm gonna look at this picture, guys, and I'm gonna tell you what my assessment of the picture is.
Wow. But either way, looking at that picture, that still speaks to the truth of racism being taught, because you had where a little boy who probably would have never grown up hating somebody or thinking less of somebody is at a Klan rally right now with his mama. You know what I'm saying? And he just there.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against the people that are pledging their lives. You trying to show the people. We'll actually post that picture, guys, on the New Wave Facebook page. So if you want to see that picture after the broadcast goes off, definitely go over to New Wave Real Talk, and then you can see this picture we're talking about here on the studio, in the studio. So yeah, that is crazy, man. That is 100% crazy.
Yeah. Now, Governor Kemp, don't be trying to kill my ass, because I'm just, you know what I'm saying, putting it out there. It's there. You can apologize for, like, that's the thing. Like, people,
right? I mean, because he's innocent.
Knowledge.
I mean, that's a little boy. You know what I mean? So
it's like, and people, my thing is like, politicians do this shit all the time. It's like they want you to forget. Like, bro, there's nothing wrong with just addressing what you said before.
Right.
And say, you know what?
That's
okay, I'm not the person I was then. Granted, in some cases, some things are a little bit harder to get out your system than others. And sometimes people just say shit for the vote. I get all that. But however, I know that I've said things. Granted, yeah, fundamentally, not much may have. Well, I'll say I probably have evolved more so than changed over the years. But there are definitely perspectives I've had, probably even just a year ago, that I just like, you know what? I don't feel that way no more. Like, I disagree with everything I said at that point in my life. There's nothing wrong with saying that, you know, then I was wrong. Now is this.
Right. Evolution is real. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes. You're supposed to grow and take away something different.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying that you pretty much, you know, can't unplug from your matrix. You know what I'm saying?
Right. and I think, I guess trying to tie this may be a far fetch, but this is what people was hoping that Bubba Wallace did. So basically, on Tuesday,
Come on, bro.
June 23rd, the federal authorities and the NASCAR said Tuesday morning that the rope found in Wallace's garage was a garage door pull old-fashioned handle or string or rope.
Yeah.
Right. There's no way in the hell that was just a pull down rope. Okay.
Right.
That was a noose by all means of what a noose is.
Right.
So you guys can Google the picture and you can see it as well. So that was on Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, Bubba released a statement on Twitter. Basically, is just saying, it's been an emotional few days. First off, I want to say how relieved that I am for the investigation revealed that it wasn't what we feared it was. So now here's a shift. So NASCAR came out with this accusation of a noose being found there, and it was a noose. I don't know if it was planted by NASCAR. It was planted by, I don't know who the hell put the noose there. Nobody knows. Apparently, the noose has been there since 2019. So Monday to Wednesday, now they done all of a sudden did a whole investigation and discovered that noose did not pose a threat, and it was just been there since 2019.
Well, was that in anybody else's fucking garage?
Nope.
And there's so many other ways that you can design a pull string for a curtain. It was like people, it's kind of like, okay.
Here's the picture.
I saw it. And so I was like, okay, people have to just be real with themselves sometimes and say, you know what? That looks a little racist or that looks a little sexist. You know what I'm saying? Whatever else. It's like, so it's just certain things you just don't do. Like, I know I say things that I shouldn't say, but it's like when I'm talking, it's like, okay, I'm not finna tell white people like stop saying nigga if you in your house. It's like, bro, I can't control, like, why am I going to exhaust the energy trying to tell you to not say nigga in your house? You talking to your people. I don't give a fuck what you do.
Right.
However, if you outside and you say nigga, you got the right to say it. You got the right to deal with them consequences too. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the thought doesn't cross your mind like, that might come off the wrong way if I say whatever.
Right.
Or if you like when these different designer companies was throwing out this different shit, and it's like not for one moment y'all didn't think this might trigger some racial, you know what I'm saying, backlash or whatever, or anything else. Like, so you mean like somebody really fucking designed this and it was here since 2019. And this is only in his, so he the only one with a garage. Like, has he been driving since 2019 or before 2019? And has he used the garage?
Well, this particular garage, I don't know, because I think they're randomly given the garages when they go to different stations, different speedways. So I'm not sure exactly what year he started racing. But I think he's been racing since 2019 for sure. I mean, that was last year. So I think he's been racing there for a couple of years.
So my thing is like
NASCAR.
It's just a little too coincidental.
And then check this out. So NASCAR. So first of all, he's the only half black driver, and his stall is the only stall with a noose in it. Like, you can't explain this away, man. I mean, you can't. It's
like unless you had like 20, unless you had what every last one of them was like that,
right?
And I'm like, okay, are they having like personal decorators or whatever,
right? Or is that the only way this white person know how to tie a rope,
right? Like, bro, like you could put a fucking bead on the end of it and just tie something to hold it in place and be able to pull that way,
right?
Like, bro, there's so many ways you can design it, or you can just have the string. You don't have to have like a grip. You can just pull, bro.
Right? Exactly. You don't need to put your hand in something. So on Thursday, which was yesterday, they actually released a picture of it. So guys, if you have not seen this picture of this news that now people are trying to say are what isn't a noose, or wasn't meant to be a noose. I don't know what the hell they were trying to say.
I'm gonna put a dog in your face and tell you it's not a damn dog,
right?
And then when I piss on your shoe and tell you it's raining, just go with that too,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like leave it at that. How do you expect us to, So on Thursday, June 25th, they came out with the photo. I mean, it's clearly a news. And then basically NASCAR officials basically had people go and look at every garage in every speedway that they have. They said they looked at 1,684 garage stalls at 29 tracks. Only 11 had garage pull down ropes tied in a knot. The only one fashioned in a noose was the one discovered on Sunday by the crew member. So in all 29 speedways, 1,684 garage stalls, 11 pull door had some form of a rope but it was tied in a regular knot.
Yeah.
This is the only garage that was tied in the form of a noose. Come on now.
In the realm of possibilities, anything is fucking possible. But does that make it probable? So. Is it probable?
Yeah.
Hell no. It's improbable as fuck. Like, bro, like no.
Right.
But
so
hey,
I mean, we standing with you, Bubba.
People would rather try to knock something as a conspiracy or a baseless conspiracy than to say, hey, bro, we probably need to keep our eyes out for this.
And see,
shit.
that's where it's going now. That's where it's going. And now they're trying to say, hey, this wasn't a news. Hey, this wasn't a threat. Oh, by the way, it was created by Bubba Wallace to somehow get some type of capital. This man is the most famous he's ever been now. So why in the fuck do he need to create a news? I mean, he has been riding the wave right now. When he came out to advocate for NASCAR to take down the Confederate flag. I mean, he once he did that, that's all he needed to do. He didn't need to go do a news. I mean, what benefit is that to him?
I mean, because Kaepernick should have done the same thing in his locker in that case.
Exactly. We all need it. I mean, so I don't think any black people want to pander in superficial false accusations when it's real. When we all know that racism is real and that's how so many of our ancestors died hanging from a damn tree.
Yeah.
Why would we want to play with that?
Yeah. And my thing is like, I get the fact that sometimes we can think we know so much about a topic where we think that we're right about it or we know what's going on when really it could just be a speculation off of like enough evidence or enough support. But in the grander scheme, we may not know enough to actually realize that actually I was wrong about this. However, we should not approach this with so much conviction that, oh, it's something that he set up or it's a coincidence. It's like we have to handle it like it's the real fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how they handle us. You know what I'm saying? Like they handle us like the real deal when we just out here minding our P's and Q's. And it's like, oh, but we're treated like a fucking threat. Why? Because of the possibility.
Because it's the color of our skin. And they try to say possibility. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of we are at the end of our show. Eric, what's your final thoughts, man?
Peace, love, enlightenment. You know what I'm saying?
I'm digging
all that good stuff.
I'm digging it, man. And as always, my final words is just, thank you for the support of the channel. For all of you guys that are tuning in for the first time, understand that we go live every Friday, 8:00. That's what we do. I'm just doing it for the culture, just trying to make sure my people are giving conversations from a different perspective, not mainstream media, but just average, normal people. So if you're liking the content, please consider subscribing via YouTube or clicking on our page on Facebook to like it, and you'll be alerted once we do go live. And that's it, man. I thank y'all for y'all support today, and I'll see you next week, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all be safe and stay vigilant. Stay vigilant.
Please.
You know what I mean? Because it's crazy out here. So I'll see y'all next week. Take care.
Bye.
Raymond, and I'm the host of New Wave Real Talk. Thank you so much for watching the show today. Please go ahead and comment and subscribe if you're watching either on YouTube or Facebook. Comment. Let me know how you liked today's show. Also, if you want to be a featured guest on the show, this is how you get in contact with me. Email newwaverealtalk@gmail.com. Let me know what you have to offer to the black community, and I will do my best to get back with you as it relates to when would be a good time for you to come on the podcast. So thank y'all so much for the support, and I will see you next Friday, and we will do it again. We'll rock it out again. So thank y'all for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.